Hello, Virgo. Thank you so much, as always, you guys, for being here. Okay, Virgo, so looking at your second week of December, you pulled Nightmare, Intuition, and Gilded Regret. You are coming out of a nightmare situation. That's how I look at this card. It talks about psychic protection and being able to get better sleep, where there aren't these energies that are like feeding off of you. It's very much like getting away from the Nine of Swords, conquering your fears type of energy. But it's leading into intuition. And what's interesting here for me is it's not about trusting it. It's about what is your intuition showing you. It talks about how every one of the cards within this deck, and this is the Vintage Wisdom Oracle cards. This is one of my favorite decks. This is what the back looks like. But it talks about how every card is designed to like kind of spike your intuition and to get you to see, the answers that you're looking for. So you may have some questions in regards to a difficult situation that you're coming out of, or the fears that you've had around that. But Gilded Regret, for some reason, there's a part of you that kind of like wants to stay stuck in it. So let me just talk about intuition real quick. It says, all the oracle cards carry symbols which have been designed to trigger insights and intuitive facilities. For this card, there are no exceptions. It says, look for any clues in the symbols or colors that may have specific relevance to your question. So I'm leaving this up to you to, look at what is your intuition telling you about the fears that you have gone through and have come out the other side of having to do with this situation. But Gilded Regret, and this is where, we're kind of like stuck with the past. It says, I feel like living in the past. Please give me 5 more minutes to linger. It says memories are like floating underwater, safe, warm, and murky, yet they hold the scent of death. So, yeah, right? Like, it's not just about any regrets that you may have had about a past situation. It's about you lingering there. But, again, with Nightmare, it's like you're coming out of that. The Two of Cups. So this seems to be the week where we want to talk about the connections that we have with other people. So for you, this may be about a question that you have in regards to a relationship. But we're talking about, you kind of getting away from whatever has been draining your energy. And not just that, but whatever fears and anxieties you may have been like dealing with in regards to a relationship, possibly. But there's this want to kind of just like stay in the past, and the King of Cups, so that may be the person, right? Or we're talking about emotional maturity, but we'll see here. You got all kinds of cards coming out. So there's your relationship. You have the Two of Cups, you have the King of Cups, where you have this compassion and understanding, and then you have the Queen of Pentacles, where it's the emotions meet the ability to provide, right? So it could very much be that, you are the provider in the relationship, or the other person can be, right? The other one is more emotional, or you may be feeling more emotional right now. That's interesting. But coming out of the nightmare of the past and not reliving it anymore, I think, too, is important with Gilded Regret. Okay, Virgo, your overall justice. Damn. So, Libra energy. And you're talking about fairness and balance being restored within relationships when you're talking about Libra, the 7th house, right? But this could be about like literally dealing with a court situation in some cases, right? But for me, I look at this and think that accountability is what's important, and correcting a situation where you may have been wronged But we're looking at, fairness and balance right now. But accountability, right? In the past, the Empress. Okay. The feeling that I get with her is, first of all, whatever you nurture is going to grow to abundance. But if we're talking about your ability to nurture and grow not only people but situations, with justice being the overall, it may be that the best parts of yourself have been given to grow a situation where there may have been imbalance. And I say that because you wouldn't have justice as the overall otherwise. There wouldn't be a need to balance out a situation, right? It's correcting what has been unfair. And it may directly have to do with all of the energy that you have been giving to a relationship or a situation. And it was directly for the purpose of growth, right? Growth and abundance. In the present, very nice. So the Nine of Cups, right? Very much, this is what I want, and this is what is going to bring me emotional fulfillment, right? It's having your wishes fulfilled. And it may be that you're finally seeing a situation get corrected where, there's this giving of yourself, but maybe not exactly getting what you want. But there's still very much a part of you that is coming through, like, yeah, right? Like, you have the ability to see things in such detail. And it's the small things that matter. But they add up. And for a Virgo to be that giving, that nurturing, right? All of the small things have to be pushing you in that direction. Because the details matter. How somebody treats you matters. But it's these three right here. It's beautiful. A situation being corrected. And you being able to continue to nurture and grow what you want. What is going to bring that emotional fulfillment, that wish fulfillment, right? So I'm interested to see here, like, what is it that you're wanting, that you're feeling? Oh boy. Future conditions, the Knight of Cups. Okay. If things have not been, like, especially within relationships, if you feel like things have not been fair and balanced, like you've always experienced imbalance, that's where this is going to be corrected. And your ability to nurture and grow what you actually want and what you believe is going to bring emotional fulfillment is leading to an offer coming through. It's amazing. So there may be an apology, especially with these two. That, or there is this understanding coming through from another person, and there's this extension of emotions, like wanting to connect. But typically we look at this as like an emotional offer coming through, an offer for emotional connection. And it's like, finally, I'm getting what I want, is what I feel like. Oh boy, your best path to follow, the Ten of Swords, right? Let that shit be done. It was a painful experience, but it has to be over with in a way where things are balanced. And it may be that you need to get up now. I kind of go back to Gilded Regret, where there's this like lingering in the memory of the pain. But whatever this is, it's over with. And this is where, the pendulum is swinging. And things are meant to come back into balance for you, where they may not have been. And again, it's directly related to how much of yourself you've been giving versus, what you have been getting back, what you actually want. Oh yeah. Wow, man. In your environment, the Lovers. So finally having that connection and having that beauty and that want to continue to grow a situation, right? But I think that this is, things being fair and balanced for you in such a way where this part of you is allowed to come back through, where we can nurture what we're wanting, especially within relationships. It's the perfect union. This is like the very significant relationship. And for some of you, you may have experienced some very painful things within it. But again, this is over and things are purposely being balanced out. And again, it feels like, there's this kind of like apology coming through, and it may be, it's just about you needing to let go of the details of the past that may have caused you enough pain to where you've been withholding. But there's a reason why the Empress is coming through, right? It's this power within you to manifest, what you're really wanting within this relationship, right? But the Lovers, it's the choice of love, no longer choosing temptation. It's the divine masculine and feminine. It's the perfect union. But there may have been some painful things that you've either experienced separate from this or involving this. And that may have to do with, the kind of emotional offering that's being extended. Your hopes and your fears, the Page of Swords. Okay, so this may be where the pain is coming from. For some of you, this may be about fearing something that you may have heard and fearing that it's truth. And it very well could be because of justice being the overall. But this is like fearing having to hear about the things that you didn't really want to hear about. And fearing, about whether or not, if it's the truth, if that makes sense, right? Because I see this as half-truths, half-stories. Somebody using specific information to control the narrative. I fucking hate the Page of Swords. It's not the communicator you want coming to you, period. Because anything that requires you to have to find out more information means that you're not getting the full picture. But very much so, I feel like this is fearing that you're going to be hearing something and wondering whether or not it's the truth. And for some of you, absolutely it could be. But there's a change in you and what you're willing to grow and nurture, because it's about what you want and what is going to bring you emotional fulfillment. And I feel like, the cards are in the other person's hand. Like, it's up to you. It's up to you now to, make the extension to make the situation better. And then the Star, beautiful. So with the Star coming out, right? Like hope and healing. And with that Knight of Cups, it's beautiful. It's all intended to correct what has happened that is definitely over with, but it's the details, again, that I think are important to you that stay within your mind. And that's what kind of creates this feeling of wanting to linger in the past. But this is all being corrected now. It's like you're finally getting what you want, but it's, are you going to continue to, you want to grow and nurture the situation? How much of yourself are you still willing to give to this? And I think that, you're still very much full on in. But I feel like this is like a hiccup in the road. But as long as you're dealing with somebody who's willing to take accountability for their actions, there's no reason why there can't be hope or healing in the situation. The Queen of Swords, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, that part of you is still coming through, but the Hierophant, right? So this is like marriage. This is like the big commitment, very significant relationship. And then you have the Knight of Swords, which, makes sense, right? So I'm going to put my foot down. You better be willing to make this commitment here. And let me just tell you like it is. The Queen of Swords and the Empress, again, there's this, I've given and given and given so much of myself. Did you actually get what you wanted? And I feel like the potential is still very much there, but your attitude on what you're willing to give of yourself is going to change. But this is to be expected if you're in a situation where things are not exactly fair and balanced, right? And again, there's a need to make amends or to be accountable for actions. But I do feel like you're dealing with somebody who knows that and understands that. But the commitment here is very important. There is a way that things are supposed to be done. And, that's different for everybody when you're looking at a relationship. But typically when we look at the traditions within a relationship, if you're married to me, you don't do stupid shit. That's kind of like what's coming off of this. There's a need to kind of like remember that this is something that you're committed to, but you need to make sure that somebody else isn't playing around. Like, this is what I want. I want to have that very significant relationship. You don't want to have to go through these kinds of situations where you're hearing information where you don't know whether or not it's true, and then, dealing with this kind of pain. And then with the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Cups, right, it's like, if there is to be hope in this situation, let's just get everything out on the table. Because it's only through truth that there can be clear action moving forward. I think you're going to be reminding somebody of how important, the commitment is here. You're not playing games anymore. And it's clearly, all about what you want. And with the Lovers, look at it, right? Like, but I do think that you're going to be dealing with somebody who is looking to heal a situation with you. Wisdom. And I feel like that's kind of like where you're coming from with the Queen of Swords. Like, there's been enough wisdom gained in the situation that now where your boundaries are at. Love keeps showing up, I'm telling you. And then the crown chakra. So, wisdom being used in the right way can open up to more love and compassion. And it's when you move into that place that there's this openness for downloads to start coming through, right? It's like finally being open to the spiritual guidance and information that you are needing. And again, it's like love will open up your intuition and give you the answers that you're looking for. But wisdom comes from being able to see our experiences differently instead of holding on to the pain and the regret, right? Show the world the real you. This one was a big one last week. And, if we're talking about conformity here, you may have been conforming to this giving nature, and that may be where you are not being true to yourself. And that's only going to be for some of you, but this is, needing to be fully you. And prosperity lies ahead. I love that I'm seeing this for people, because no matter what you're dealing with, again, the potential for growth is unlimited, especially with her showing up. But that is your own energy. If she is not the perfect embodiment for Virgo, it's funny because you're ruled by Mercury, but you have Libra there, right? Which Venus rules Libra and Taurus. But the embodiment, the perfect embodiment, I feel, of the Empress really, really belongs to the energy of Virgo. But again, details, right? But regardless, prosperity. Prosperity in whatever situation that you are looking to heal. You know, this is so significant. This is so minor. And it can drastically affect how much of yourself you're willing to give. But as long as you're dealing with somebody who is wanting to accept accountability, right, there may be, you know, this kind of like harsh feeling for a little bit. But the prosperity lies in knowing that the purpose of this is to correct what was wrong and for there to be healing of the situation.